What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. Now, I know I said I was going on vacation, and guess what, y'all? Hey, our flight just got canceled again. Yay! But no, I'm still going on vacation. I promise you that. We've got a flight. We're leaving out of Houston now instead of Lake Charles to Dallas. We're going directly from Houston to Tampa. It was a big change. I don't know what the hell's going on with American Airlines, but they can't seem to get us anywhere, so we're going to Southwest. Yeah, it's just a bunch of craziness, man. Our flights, that's like 3 cancellations in a row, so hopefully we'll make it there. I promise we'll get there one day, but, you know, I can't take off too much more work because I don't get vacation pay. I know that may sound ridiculous to some people, but that's just how the industry is. The glass industry is weird. We don't get vacation pay. I don't get any kind of paid time off, so if I get sick, I don't get paid for it. But we get a decent Christmas bonus, so I guess that kind of makes up for it, kind of, if, you know, but, you know, I'm just a broke guy living day to day trying to make it on YouTube, so what the hell are you gonna do, you know what I mean? But, you know, there's been a whole lot of talk back and forth, especially the past couple days. I put out a video with David Pakman debating Will Cain on Trump versus Biden, and did I get a butt ton of Democrats commenting in that video, and these people are outright insane. As a matter of fact, if you want to be entertained, go to that video and just scroll through the comments section. It's nuts, y'all. Y'all will be entertained for a while, but there's been a lot of back and forth, and we look at the Biden administration as being evil, but I don't say that a whole hell of a lot outright. They do a lot of evil things. But, you know, both sides have evil to them. The Republicans are evil. The Democrats are evil. But the Democrats have gone insane, and at least the Republicans put up a front of some sort of moral basis as to why they do what they do. Right? We're against abortion, which we find to be murder. But on the other hand, the Democrats say, oh, well, you're not giving a woman's right to choose. Yeah. When that choice is murder, of course, we don't want to give them the right to choose murder. And they always bring it back to that. And that, on their part, they view that as evil. Well, we view that as evil because you're killing a baby. But they get out of that by calling it a fetus. Yeah, you could say that. I even had somebody argue, well, you can't tell the difference between a dolphin fetus and a human fetus. I said, yes, you can. Just wait a few months. You can tell a big difference. One will be a human and one will be a dolphin. But that doesn't really matter if you can tell the difference or not, because you're still killing a human fetus, regardless of what it develops to be, or if I can tell the difference. They try to use these BS arguments that just doesn't make any sense when you break it down logically. But we get a lot of good versus evil, bad versus good, and, you know, I would say there's evil on both sides. You know, it's the common conception of voting for a president is voting for the lesser of two evils. Well, I can say that is definitely true in this one, because Trump's not an angel, by no means. However, with everything the Biden administration has done, everything, if you go through my video archive and you see everything that Joe Biden has done, it's outright insane. From opening that southern border and allowing criminals and all and the like to come across that border and destroy cities, destroy people's lives, murder our citizens, that's an evil. I'm sorry. That's a fact. That's evil. You can't just not have a border in your country. You don't have a country if you don't have a border. That is just baseline, simple logic that anybody can understand. And if you argue against that for compassion, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. It's not compassionate to allow millions of people to come into your country illegally when there is a legal path, a viable legal path to citizenship that could be taken instead of breaking the law to get there. I saw this article come out, and there was a video clip attached to it of Jill Biden arguing just that.
We're going to go to college campuses. We're going to go to just every state that we can get into. I've been traveling every single day. Joe has been traveling as much as possible. And we're not going to take anything for granted. And those polls are going to turn, I'm confident of it, because as time goes on and as people start to focus a little bit more about what's at stake and start to become educated on the issues and the differences between the two men, I believe that Americans are going to choose good over evil.
Yes.
Dr. Biden, women are likely to play a crucial role in this in November. And we've heard Trump bragging about stripping women's reproductive rights. 14 states have a total ban on abortion, and now IVF is under attack.
Yes.
How dangerous a time is this for women, and how much worse could it get in a second or third, as you mentioned, Trump presidency?
Well, it could get a lot worse under a Trump presidency. I mean, you have to believe him when he uses words like dictator, bloodbath, third term, violence. We've seen it. So when he says these words, believe him. Don't think this isn't going to happen.
That's right. Yeah.
And women's rights, absolutely women's rights, and IVF. I mean, we have to have a choice. And Joe wants to codify Roe.
Yeah,
and we have to. We have to fight hard so we get it back. Because, Joy, you and I remember when Roe came the law. And we kept thinking, oh, this won't be taken away. But we cannot take things for granted because they can. And think of the Supreme Court. For God's sake, talk about things getting worse. Can you imagine if we put any more Republicans on the Supreme Court? No. We will lose all of our rights. So we're talking about women's rights, gay rights. I mean, we will lose our rights and freedom. Voting rights. Yes,
all of this is up at stake.
And to me, that shows desperation. That shows these people don't care about facts, don't care about logic. They just want to tell you, please don't vote for the evil orange man, when they're outright telling you, we're not going to have any more elections. Do you know? I guess they don't realize exactly how deranged that sounds. Nobody on the right, on the conservative side, is telling anybody that if Joe Biden gets put back in office, we're not going to have any more elections, because that's outright ridiculous. Nobody on the conservative side is telling Democrats that if Joe Biden gets reelected, you're going to lose all your rights. No, nobody is saying that. Nobody's saying that at all. However, we have lost some rights. We have shown the weaponization of the federal government, Joe Biden's administration, against conservatives. I'll stress this point. I've been stressing it on videos just to get it out there. Joe Biden and his administration, the FBI, they had backdoor access to social media companies to shut down conservative voices, which is one of the most egregious violations of the First Amendment anybody can commit. I will keep hammering that point in until people realize it. I don't understand why people on the left will just blow past everything that Biden has done and say, Trump is evil. Huh? What do you mean by that? But let's get into the story, because I want to break that video down point by point. Check this out, y'all. First Lady Jill Biden claims citizens will lose all of our rights if another conservative gets appointed to the Supreme Court. Huh? What do you mean, lose all of our rights? The Supreme Court is there to ensure our rights are properly litigated. Any kind of grievance we have with any kind of lawsuit that's brought up against our rights will eventually make it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is supposed to be unbiased. So telling the average everyday citizen that if Republicans get put on the Supreme Court, that's a very dangerous thing to say, because it takes away from the Supreme Court what they're supposed to do. Telling people, fear-mongering, that you'll lose all your rights if they put any more Republican Supreme Court justices on the circuit, that you will lose all your rights, is a very dangerous thing to do. It undermines the criminal justice system, if you will. It delegitimizes the criminal justice system, which for someone who's supposed to be all about democracy, yeah, that's not a good thing to do. And please explain how that will happen. I would love for them to explain how that will happen, because that's a very large leap in logic to say that you will lose all your rights if more conservatives are on the Supreme Court, which we already have a 6-3. So how come we haven't lost all of our rights yet? The Republicans could outvote the progressives on any single court case that comes before them. They could absolutely just override the progressives. So how come we haven't lost that? It's fear-mongering. It's derangement. It's Trump derangement syndrome at its best. The First Lady joined The View on Wednesday to promote her new book, Willow, the White House Cat, and she predicted President Joe Biden polling will soon make a turn. The president has been led by Donald Trump in recent swing state polls. Jill Biden referred to the choice between her husband and Trump as a literal choice between good and evil. I'm sorry. She has absolutely no right to call what Joe Biden has done for the past 3 years as good. And if you're trying to make the case that the next 4 years will be better than the previous 4 years, I'm sorry. We have track records to look at. We have everything that Joe Biden has done, from canceling student loan debt against the will of the Supreme Court, to fighting to keep the border open, fighting against Texas, who just wants the ability to arrest criminal aliens when they run across criminal aliens. Yeah, the Biden administration is fighting against Texas because Texas is trying to do the federal government's job, because the federal government is not doing it. Those polls are going to turn. I'm confident of it, because as time goes on and as people start to focus a little bit more on what's at stake and start to become educated on the issues and the differences between the two men, I believe Americans are going to choose good over evil, she said. And I totally agree with that, because once people realize everything that Joe Biden has been doing, they will realize that he is an evil. He is not good for the country. Yeah. You may not like Trump. You may not like some of the stuff he says, but show me any policy that's evil. Anything that Trump done that is outright evil. And that's another thing that we can look to, right? We now have the choice between two presidents that we've seen their administrations. We were doing very good under Donald Trump, despite the fact that the weaponized federal government was actively working against Donald Trump to stymie anything he did and everything he did. Try to secure our southern border. He got fought tooth and nail to stop from building a fence. Why? Why would these people not want to secure our southern border? The Democrats used to be about border security, but they don't seem to care now. Their open border policy, that is a terrible policy that allows for evil to come across our border and endanger our citizens and put our economy at risk. Not to mention the fact that the Biden administration is giving these people debit cards with thousands of dollars on it, hotel rooms. They're taking up high school gymnasiums, for God's sakes, putting these people in encampments in these gymnasiums. For what reason? So they won't be homeless? Well, you shouldn't have let them come in the first place. Now they're just creating a crisis at the southern border. That's all they're doing. The border towns have been overrun with criminal aliens. We saw that clip from Chip Roy recently where he said, Kenny County, I believe, the last year of Trump's presidency, they had 167 crimes. The following year, they had like 6,700 crimes. That is a massive jump in criminality. And why? It's not the citizens doing it. It's criminal aliens doing it. They're allowing fentanyl to just pour across our border because of this border crisis, because the Border Patrol agents are so tied up in litigating asylum cases, they don't have time for actual Border Patrol. So you got a lot more gotaways coming through. It's all just insanity. And then they want to call Donald Trump evil for trying to not allow all that to take place. Yeah, that's not good. Joe Biden is facilitating human trafficking by allowing that border to be open. I would call that evil. Name something that Trump did in that same respect that you could find that is evil. I don't see it. The closest thing you could equate to that would be separating families. However, our standard criminal justice system does this anyway. If you get caught drinking and driving with your family in the car, you get arrested. You get separated from your family. Is that evil? No, that was taking a dangerous person off of the road, out of society, because they were endangering not only their family, but other drivers on the road. It's just a bunch of BS. These people, they love to twist the facts around and try to call Trump evil. Trump might say some mean things online, but his actions don't show evil, if you will. In a pitch in favor of her husband, the First Lady also predicted people will lose all of their rights if Trump gets the chance to appoint another conservative to the Supreme Court, getting a quick agreement from View co-hosts Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Austin. Trump appointed Neil Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh to the country's top court. Biden raised alarms about abortion bans and restrictions put forth in states following the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade in 2022. We cannot take things for granted and think of the Supreme Court, for God's sakes. Talk about things getting worse. Can you imagine if we put any more Republicans on the Supreme Court? No, she said. We will lose all of our rights. That is an insane thing to say. We will lose all of our rights. Are you freaking serious, lady? The First Lady described November's choice between Biden and Trump as a choice between democracy and chaos. Look back to the Trump administration. Did we have chaos? We had the Democrats going crazy over stuff Trump would say, but that's about it. We had a booming economy. People were making money hand over fist. I don't see that as being chaotic. Do you? We had peace. No new wars, for God's sakes. We had peace all across the world. He was making deals all over the place. He was putting accountability where it's supposed to be by holding China to account for some of their BS that they've been trying to pull. Yeah, he got into a trade war with China. Tried to bring back manufacturing to the United States. What is wrong with that? People say that everything Trump does is for himself. Yeah, but if it benefits the country, if making America great again makes Trump a better person, why does that matter? Why? Nobody can answer this question. So what if it makes Trump more popular or makes him even more rich? If it helps the American people at the same time, who cares? That's going to get my vote for damn sure. I'm not going to vote for the past 4 years. I'm going to vote for the previous 4 years before that, because I am tired of the weaponized government. I'm tired of all these insane Democrats trying to promote insane policies that obviously don't work. These people are desperate and they want you to believe that Trump is evil, but they can't prove it. There's just no way they can prove it. And I think the American people are waking up and seeing exactly what's going on. But that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.